Where did it all begin? Why are we here? Who are we? Where do we come from? What does it all mean?
So I'm gonna let this video play in the background because it's relevant. Welcome old worlders, realm researchers, newcomers and subscribers, and folks who might be looking for answers. I have none. The truth being stranger than fiction is the only angle I'm willing to stand by. Does that mean I know the truth? Of course not. I do know this truth, though. There are many mysteries among the realm. Thanks for watching regardless of why you're here. Even if it's to laugh at us old worlders. Hey, at the very least, you're listening. Now let's look at something old. Koresh and the WACO siege. Okay, so here's how this is gonna go. So many government agencies that I'll coin these people alphabet boys or alphabet stew. The alphabet boys is the government, military, business, municipality, elite infrastructure in general. So this is a term I've adopted for the hijackers of freedom, flexibility, immunity, opportunity, and simple privilege. Some have come at me sideways for this angle, in my opinion, right? They may say, hey, asshole, you're an entitled jerk. You think you know everything. How dare you criticize the greatest free country of them all? My rebuttal has always been, freedom is just your imagination. Try not paying your vehicle tags. Or how about your taxes? Try taking the meter off the side of your house. How about setting sail beyond the 89th parallel? Incidentally, the 90th parallel doesn't even have a wiki page or an image that references it. That's how free our information is, right? Now, I'm not fear-mongering. Whether you choose to believe any of us old worlders or not, you freedom mongers will not try any of the things that are in the list above. And we know and you know exactly why. Freedom is a bullshit construct and it's used as a constraint, just like the blue marble. That's right, for the marble people. And guess what? That's exactly the malicious activity that went on with the WACO siege. The WACO narrative has turned into an exploitation, lies, deceit, abuse, misinformation, misleading angles, obstruction, coercion, incompetence, ignorance, and the absolute failure of all public trust, money, resources, constitution, and of course, inalienable rights, and the right to a fair trial. There was a time before the communication age, at least for the public. People couldn't go to a forum or the World Wide Web and discuss inconsistencies of the alphabet stew narrative, right? Or even have your 2 cents put in an ocean of thought and pontification that I like to refer to as the oracle. Among like-minded people, right? Or not so like-minded. And for me, see, growing up, I had to learn from people that I didn't agree with because I didn't have the luxury of being a conspiracy theorist with like-minded NPCs, right? As we do now. And I can tell you the term wasn't thrown around back then. Conspiracy theory? Seriously. No. That wasn't, we didn't have a cultural reference to that. You might not believe it, but the time that I'm talking about was 1993. And just to give you a perspective on how reliant we were on local and national news only, cell phones weren't a thing yet. Yeah, I know, the rich and some of the elite had them, of course. The alphabet boys been using them since Nam. But not even 1% of the 5 billion world public had one. Again, I'm making a point of how small the public information bubble was in '93. It's ancient history to someone as old as me, and even seemingly aeons away from someone who wasn't born yet. So to be questioning an official narrative was rarely on the table for anybody. If you had any doubt about a news story, the most you might do is save it for party conversation or mention it to a coworker, and that's about it. No feedback of your point of view because they all saw the same information you did. Literally zero debate, argument, anger, or division amongst most people for the simple reason that most everyone you personally knew was on board with the same news source. Or fiction propaganda to slant a view, to be frank about it. I'll tell you something that I'll stand by and not even argue about. We, as the public, did not dislike each other the way we do now, prior to the September Tower bullshit. Someone like me, even though I was a little outrageous for most people, pretty much my whole life, back in the day, it would be an honest statement for me or other folks in general to say, I get along with everybody, period. Because they knew what other people would say about them. Does that make sense? The information age has changed a lot of things. You want to know what people debated about as friends and stayed friends? Even though their opinions might get a little heated after a few beers at a cookout, right? It doesn't matter. It never mattered. That's the thing. Maybe I'm making my point, maybe I'm not, but Oldsmobile's better than Plymouth. The Beatles are better than the Osmond Brothers. The price of material things, gas, lawn furniture, bullshit, just everyday domestic crap, right? The Maple Leafs can't beat the New Jersey Devils. My job's more stressful than yours. My wife can cook better than yours. I barbecue this way. You should do it my way. My lawn's always greener than yours. You should take a vacation every year. I do. Hey man, do you believe in UFOs? None of this caused any real division among you, your friends, or acquaintances, because you just ended up having interesting conversations, or no conversations at all, because there was nowhere else to get it. Because it wasn't that important. I mean, we did go outside a lot more. And there was rarely a moment where you didn't meet somebody new. That's another video altogether, and I'll try to stay focused, because I tell you, I could go off the rails with that. People were not politically or religiously infused with feces. And this is the case because people were not coming from a political view at all. It wasn't even a cross-reference sort of thing in our collective consciousness. You see what I mean? And if one started a political or religious conversation at the barbecue or the campfire, you'd pretty much be ignored. The conversation would quickly turn into you guys shit-testing your friend, right? All in fun, and everyone took it that way for the most part. I don't want to blow sunshine up your ass. But if you missed the realm before the oracle, you can't comprehend how different life was for an average Joe. My buddy and I were driving the public roads before we had licenses. And we never got handcuffed, we never got abused, we never got arrested, we never got charged with anything. The coppers weren't happy about it. He just said something like, just because you can do it, does that mean you should? Obviously, I'm not talking about 93 right now. I'm just making a point that pre-public disseminated technology. I'm going to go back to it. I learned something from someone I didn't agree with. Life was way different from a mentality level, from both parties. Does that make sense? Both parties weren't crazy. For me, back in the day, I don't remember a political or religious argument with anyone, which means that to have an argument, you need another party. In turn means nobody had one with me either. Does that make sense? I can't have an argument unless someone started one. And that's it. Now, a little about this video. Koresh and WACO was a disinformation campaign to incite the public to hate these people, and it worked. Society, people you and I know, had this on 24/7 in hopes that the alphabet boys were going to come and murder these filthy pilgrims. And I can't wait to see their dying bodies. And that's our society watching TV. Now, how deep is that? Really, think about it. I mean, I'm not going to pause the video, but that's our society watching TV. Filthy pilgrims, dead bodies. Come on. The smear campaign wasn't true, of course. And that should be no surprise to anyone. The fact is, they did not want a self-sufficient community that takes care of each other in a self-contained ecosystem that worked for them. No. Because they couldn't stand anyone getting out of the system. I mean, that's what it boils down to. And a clear warning to the freedom mongers, you ain't free, you got a TV. Literally, there was zero reason to make up lies about these people, but it was done to infiltrate the imagination of the news-watching public. How many disgusting entities knew that none of this was true? Furthermore, I'd like you to understand how diabolical this plot against them got. The alphabet stew began scrupulous child endangerment narratives on these innocent people. The exact polar opposite of what was actually going on inside the building. Now I'm going to say it again, if you didn't hear me clearly. Innocent public, human beings, yes, brethren of you and I, who were from day one innocent of all charges. You got that? And you and I let them be slaughtered because the public wanted them dead without discernment. I know the internet is. Even though the facts have been uncovered without dispute, they're still going to be going, I heard this, and they said that, and I know, because I heard. That's when it became too much for me to believe. It didn't sit right. They waited way too long for the worst thing that they were doing to come out to the public. It didn't jive. Very soon after that, the helicopters and tanks rolled in there, murdering these innocent folks and their children. Kill them. There's kids in the building. Nobody seemed to care. The annoying thing is the children who were supposedly in a horrific, abusive state already, so the alphabet stew decided to torch them? Does that make any sense? See, something was off. You can see what I'm saying. I was like, wait, here's the thing. This isn't the way anything until that date was ever handled. It was just a simple deduction of reasoning as to why they thought this was a good idea. So where does one turn? With deductive, logical reasoning. Who do you talk to? Folks would be like, no friggin' way, man. I'm not gonna hear that one, dude. You're already into UFOs. Get the hell out of here. You know, you couldn't go to the Oracle. YouTube, no forums, no black mirrors, no coworkers, no friends. Anyone who wanted to give these vile creatures any sympathy or their day in court would be shamed. I know it for a fact. I remember. I'm laughing because our society's completely flipped, right? It isn't funny at all. Anyway, it's something that I lived with for a long time. It's been on my mind for oh so long. Because there was no other narrative at all. And it wasn't fair. Telling you, that's what I was feeling. It wasn't fair. I'll be honest, it's as wrong as it gets. You know, back then, UFOs were too much of a conspiracy for most people to handle. Never mind their beloved alphabet stew brewing up lies to screw these people who are minding their own business and spreading good in the general community and not just theirs. This whole thing has come out as one of the worst deceits on the public that one can imagine, in my opinion. And I was gonna do a whole video about, is this a false flag? No. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna try to do this, but I'm gonna tell you why. False flags have doubles, actors, people you can go research and look at, and boom, boom, boom. Then they turn up to be, you know, blue eyes and green eyes and black eyes, and names are switched around and all that stuff. There is one thing that bothers me about this, though, and I'll get to that. The thing that doesn't bother me is I don't think this guy has a double, and I don't think that his body language, I mean, I could do a breakdown of this guy's body language, but there's nothing to do. He's not acting. Whatever is going on, he's not acting. So that's his body language is spot on. Doesn't tip me off. And I'm good at that. And I don't mind saying it either. I've saved my ass from getting killed because I could read body language. So this is the thing I don't like. Now, I'm not gonna point anything out because I don't wanna offend anybody. But if you see it, good. If you don't, like I said, I don't want to bring any more nonsense to this thing at all. So if you see it, you see it. Thanks for watching.